Legend, wait for it, Daryl. Hey guys, it's me, Legend, wait for it, Daryl, and we are at RoboToyfest 2025, and we're doing something new, spectacular, and special. That's right, for the first time ever in 30 years, the VR Troopers are reuniting, and we're gonna have a sit-down interview with them to discuss the show, the good, the bad, the things you didn't even know before. So let's go ahead as I sit down with Sarah Joy Brown, Mike Hollander, and Brad Hawkins, and go ahead and talk about the adventures of VR Troopers. Let's go. And of course, Trooper Transform. So hey guys, my name is Legend, wait for it, Daryl. I have worked with Scott Zillner for about 12 years. He made it when it was announced that you were willing to start doing this again, I sent him that information right away, okay? I don't know if you guys know this, but you're on the course of your 31st anniversary of your show. I spent the better part, since the announcement you come back, rewatching everything. Like, we watched all your guys' old shows. So it means a lot to me that you were willing to take time out of your really busy day and schedule to do this with me. And we're gonna go ahead, record this little interview, catch up with you guys, and see how it goes.
Can I fix your hair?
Go ahead.
The interesting part is if you do a VR Trooper marathon, it's the same exact length of time as Game of Thrones.
It was going
It's the exact same running time.
Oh, Game of Thrones. Okay. Our next
How did you
show.
know about that? Did you sit there with a timer?
I just know if I watch Game of Thrones, it takes like 2 weeks to watch it all. And I was like, it's probably the exact same run time as a full season of VR Troopers.
I hope you'll do the same. If I have green, spinach, or anything, it
But
might
see,
be.
you already look kind of perfect. And
No, I just don't want you to look at it and be like, why didn't somebody fix that for
so
me?
actually, my girlfriend, she hates doing my hair to death. It's usually curly.
Yeah.
I'm mixed, so half black, half white.
Yeah.
And my hair is usually pretty curlied up, and it takes a lot of work to straighten it down.
She blow dries it for you.
If it's wet, and she tells me that a lot, that my hair is really wet and unkempt.
Yeah.
So she'll get super frustrated, but she puts so much work into this. Because I got my hair done specifically for you guys today.
So she would not like it if one piece was sticking straight up. Like
I would never
that
hear
girl.
the end of
Let me
it.
fix
She's
it.
like the boss.
You realize the interview just switched. It's on you now.
I don't
Now
know
we're
how.
interviewing
Okay,
you.
so on
tell
that
us about this
note,
relationship.
so guys, I'm with Brad Hawkins, who played Ryan Steele. I am with Michael Hollander. You were credited as Michael Bacon. I'm gonna follow up that later. He played J.B. Reese, and then we have Sarah Brown, who played Caitlin Starr. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the questions and get things out of the way. And this is the easiest one. Is this the first time you guys have reunited since VR Troopers ended?
The three of us.
The three of us, yeah.
Yeah.
Like as soon as the final day was shooting, you were just like, I'm done, and never want to see y'all again, or what was that like?
Not at all.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah,
I took my script and threw it in there like college. You know, I was like, I'm out of here.
Not at all.
No,
I
we had a
think we
good
just
time.
all went our separate ways. You moved at some
started-
point to Nashville?
Yeah, I started country music and I moved to Nashville after, well, I'd say within a year, you know, I ventured on. I was like, it didn't segue acting wise for me for some reason. Like right after the show, I was like, hey, I was on a TV show. Let me go get another TV show. Yeah, that never happened. That never happened again. Yeah.
But you didn't love acting at the time.
I started.
You and Mike both.
I fell in love with
Right.
acting later. As far as like a craft.
Right.
It was I think I got it so fast that it was a job.
Yeah.
And it was less of the craft of it. You were definitely committed to the craft of it, and we were always like, she's the actress. She's the actor.
You
of the
guys
group.
loved the martial arts,
yeah.
the sports
Yeah.
aspect of everything. Like that was
Yeah.
their thing.
Okay,
When I
but I
came
watched
back.
the show and I saw you do flips too.
Oh yeah, no, I was a competitive gymnast my entire life. Not my whole life, but I started at
4.5, 5. And so 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. So that's why my kicks obviously don't look as good as the men, because I didn't learn. They kept trying to teach me that on camera it's about the recoil. So to this day, I watch my kicks, and they're these long sort of.
She had the flexibility. Yeah.
I definitely did, and I had the strength, but I don't have the recoil. So my stunts look more like I'm doing these round crescent
She
kicks.
sold it.
And
Nah, she sold it. It looked great.
I lived with the stunt.
It looked good. Yeah.
It was
Okay.
I have some help at home.
All right. So when you guys first auditioned for the show, did you know you were going into a kid show? And if you did, what was like your thoughts on like the whole concept of it? Were you just like, oh, we're in the next Power Rangers show, or like, what did you think going into a kid show?
Yeah, I knew I was, like I said, I was cast as the White Ranger initially after the audition. That was the audition for it. So I was deathly afraid of being, banished to spandex. And I was like, I'm going to be stuck in a spandex uniform. But I mean,
instead you were stuck in a vest.
Yeah, I knew that. Power Rangers. I mean, when you audition for it, it wasn't like I was watching Power Rangers. That wasn't my age range. But I had to get educated with it pretty fast. Like, what is this show? And I was like, oh, it's the biggest show in the world right now for kids programming. And so when I got that, and then I knew what that was going to entail. And then it ended up segueing over into VR Troopers, and I got a chance to work with them instead of being on Power Rangers. So yeah, it was just kind of my first TV show was going to be a kids TV show, and arguably I'd say we were we were up there with Power Rangers. There was a lot of countries and a lot of places where we had higher ratings actually when our stuff came out. So we
No, your guys' ratings were actually pretty strong because it was something different and people liked different and new. At least when it comes to TV shows, and you weren't trying to be Power Rangers of your own thing, but it was like a really cool concept.
I've heard from a lot of fans doing Comic-Cons, they're like, your show was more mature.
It was.
Like it was older. And people are like, I don't watch Power Rangers, I watch VR Troopers now.
Right. Well, college kids were watching
Well,
our show a lot.
they already touched on the whole thing where you guys had only kiss in any of the Saban produced products, right?
Myself and Percy.
Yes. I was
didn't know
Wow.
that.
Yeah.
The only so for Tommy and Kimberly, they only ever did pecks on the cheek, but the first full real kiss, and I didn't even remember this as a kid because again I was reviewing your show. I watched that and I was like, holy, that's the first kiss ever in any of them.
That's on Sarah's resume, actually.
Yeah, it was actually Aaron's first kiss.
I was
going to
tell you that he told me that too.
Never had a kiss, so that was epic for him. And and someone actually on Instagram, I was posting about the show, and I was joking around. Were we all really just friends? Because now it's 30 years later, and everyone that watched is grown up. And I thought it'd be funny because JB and Caitlin I'm always hanging on JB. I'm like, oh JB, I'm all over him. And somebody said, I really appreciate that they didn't go to the gross side. I was like, oh, it's still gross 30 years
I'll
later?
just get rid of the next question then.
Gross side
So,
question.
no gross.
But so you guys got that landmark that no one else is gonna beat.
We need a grown-up VR Troopers now. So if we could do the show again and then have
VR
3
Troopers
kids,
After Dark.
See,
like all of our children are the VR Troopers and
You
we're their
like
parents, that would be
super
fun.
skipped way
He's
too
probably got all the
Oh, we're getting to that. Okay.
way in advance, but I'll just come to it now. So you guys know that Power Rangers had like a 30th anniversary Netflix special, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, it was called Once and Always. It was a big deal. They tried to get everybody,
What was it called?
Once and Always. It's called Power Rangers Once and Always. They tried to get everybody. They couldn't use Austin for reasons. Jason David Frank was doing his own thing, and Amy Jo Johnson didn't want to spend 3 months in New Zealand. But everyone else they could get, they got for that.
Yeah.
So
From the original or from all the cast?
Original.
I
All
see.
the actors they could get from it, they got.
I see.
So my question was, if they were, we've got the comic coming out.
Yeah.
If they were to see you guys, if someone from Netflix is outside right now, where are they? Hope they're not doing something dumb with a fan or something like that. And they said, hey guys, we want to do a VR Troopers 30th anniversary special. Would you guys be down to reunite one more time and Trooper transform?
We'll transform.
I think so.
What do you say, JB?
We are VR.
We are VR.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot easier to wrangle 3 of us than all of them. So
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, it's kind of struggle getting y'all in just one room together.
It's taken 30 years, right?
Yeah.
It's not because we didn't
Only
love each
30
other.
years.
We did, but I think people don't realize that we did 14 and 16-hour days consistently all the time. We did 4 episodes every 11 days. So we spent so much time together that I would wake up sometimes from nightmares or dreams saying I got to save the world.
Yeah.
So my alarm clock would go off, and that would be my mindset because I
Wow.
spend so much time. And then I very quickly went into General Hospital after that.
Yeah.
And that we did a full show every single day.
So I wasn't the brightest 6-year-old when I saw that, because I did watch, my grandmother forced me to watch General Hospital with her. So I didn't realize that I was watching you literally right after I watched you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I had my hair cut pretty short. It was sort of similar to the Zeo Rangers episodes I did.
Was that intentional, so that way when you you were like, I don't want to be Caitlin Starr anymore?
No, it was
A bad thing. It's just like I sat down and the guy cut my hair off and I was like, oh, this is not cute.
So I'm actually kind of glad you guys mentioned Power Rangers Zeo. So there was the whole red herring thing, and there was the rumor that you were going to be
And I
Gold
think
Ranger.
that was a fan rumor. I mean, because nothing. It was never the intention of Saban or me or production. It was an accident. They just asked me. Like I keep making the joke I was cheap labor because we were already in the ADR studio, and they said, "Hey, will you do us a favor? We need a voice for this character. We don't have the actor picked out. Can you switch your voice up a little bit and try to do something?" And I did it, and they're like, "There's no one's ever gonna know."
As a child, you have very specific. So I was
Very
like,
specific.
"Oh, is that Ryan?" And they were doing the whole thing where they were teasing it was going to be anybody, and there were really strong rumors going by that it was actually going to be Ryan Steele as the Gold Ranger, which is why they were building it up.
I was always down to do a crossover. She's the only one that ever got to actually cross over, from VR Troopers into Power Rangers as far as the storyline.
Yeah.
I think, am I wrong? I think all of us were down to do like a merge of the story.
crossover.
Because it was literally a wall that separated their production from ours. We were on the same set, same building.
Same parking lot.
Yeah. So we all knew each other. We liked each other. It was like, wouldn't it be cool to bring our worlds together at least for like an episode or an arc or something like that? But I think logistically between their footage, our footage, and the storyline, it's probably a lot going
It's
on.
in the comic
Well,
book.
towards the end of your guys' show, they started doing more live action footage. Like they did the whole, made their own little Grim Lord, so
Right.
they could do it. They were using the original action footage. In Power Rangers, they were doing the same thing. The budgets went up so that they were using more live action footage. So there was nothing theoretically that could have stopped them from having you guys come back and team up with the Zeo Rangers, because your show ended very open. It had a very open ended. Your storylines didn't finish.
Yeah.
So if you would have been Ryan Steele and they were to do the team up, they could have honestly wrapped up your guys' story in that crossover.
Yeah.
So you guys
Our
would've-
budget never went on.
So
Just
I have
Power
a
Rangers.
question actually.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers, when they're in their spandex, they
Yes.
could get stunt guys to do all these crazy stunts in like the American footage.
Yes.
They couldn't do that with VR Troopers.
Right.
Our costumes were so cumbersome,
It's
like
so
you
different.
could not. So we
Yeah.
almost 99% relied on, at least for the
Footage.
action stuff,
Yeah.
on the Japanese footage.
Yeah.
We could not do stunts with the costumes that we
Oh,
had.
no.
You can barely walk.
They
Yeah.
could barely walk. They were plastic.
I have a variant of your suit, not like just like that, but I have a version of it, and I've worn it, and I understand entirely what you mean by that. It's
Wow.
like walking in an Iron Man suit. So I
Right.
wouldn't wish that on my
Right.
worst enemy,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So do you guys have a favorite moment or memory with each other when you guys are filming the show?
Brad making me laugh all the time.
All the time.
This dude was like, he was like the stand-up comedian on the show. He was such a
yeah.
prankster. Like he would like do gags, or they would like he'd be off camera trying to make me laugh because I mean I laugh so easy, but this guy just always was cracking me up.
I love to make Mike crack up. Sarah was definitely, she was committed to the craft. She was
Serious.
always the actress.
But always
and
laughing
I do remember second
smiling.
season you shifted gears because you started doing, I think, more classes and more stuff. Because we were still just the martial arts guys, just they're like, get your kicks right and make it look flashy, and get we were excited about the choreography.
No, I
But
went
Sarah,
to high school. I went to
you
the
were-
high school for the performing arts. So before
Yeah, okay.
I started, I
Yeah.
was already
Yeah.
really like, I was
Well-
doing a Greek tragedy
Yeah.
at Santa Monica College when I was cast.
The episode that I remember where I could tell your commitment to the craft was the nightmare episode where you were basically having
I
these
remember that. Yeah,
ongoing
yeah.
nightmares, and that was a part of the arc and or
Right.
the storyline, and you were
You were seeing them
crying and
actress.
coming. Oh yeah, and I was just like, she can cry on cue. I was like, she's good.
That's how I ended up with General Hospital.
but she was always committed to the craft of acting. I think we were, just two guys trying to figure it out. He's coming off a music video, and this is my first job. I'm trying to hit a mark.
Whoa. What music
Yeah, but
There we go.
video? What music
Oh, Brad, you want to sing it for us?
Yes.
No, I just need the name and like
Yeah,
who to
we're
look
gonna
for,
look it
so that
up.
way we can like.
It's Tony Braxton.
There you
Really?
go.
Oh,
Is that why you got rid of
I didn't
Bacon
even
and
know.
went back to Hollander because you know?
No, I changed the name after the show,
Oh, okay.
which in hindsight was kind of a mistake. But
I did too. I ended up Sarah Joy Brown.
I remember that.
And
Okay.
that was because there was another actress in the union. So
baby,
VR Troopers was a
baby,
non-union show. This was us on the set of VR Troopers, just always laughing.
Yeah, so he's coming
It
off a
was
music
late,
video. It was
late
my first
nights.
anything. I'm trying to hit a mark, and figure that out and not suck completely. And she
You
was
guys
she
were
was
great. I look
she was
back
good.
and
We
it
all
holds
just
up.
we all
It's
had
fun.
our strength. I think mine was just like I was just a smart ass. It's just-
No, these two were amazing with the action. That was, and also when I look back at it now, I think you guys were both really good. I enjoy the show. It's fun. You know,
It got
I
better.
fast forward through a lot of the.
It got better. I think we got more
monster stuff,
comfortable.
but
It
yeah,
showed.
it was
It
just like,
showed. You guys.
you know, another
We're a
thing
team,
that,
we're a
that
team.
I was really disappointed with the action because I took the martial arts more seriously. Like I wanted to get into like martial art films and stunts and stuff like that. So when Power Rangers came out, they were doing all these crazy high kicks and everything like that. But the problem was, you probably heard that little kids started kicking each other in school and they were
Yes.
fighting and stuff.
They
So
actually-
when our show came out, they decided, all right, rules. The martial arts can't look too violent. So we couldn't do any high kicks to the head.
Right.
Or if we did, it had to like clear over the head or, so they were trying to make our martial art choreography more cheesy.
Oh.
So more kid friendly. And I think that frustrated me and Brad because we wanted to do like really cool action stuff and Power Rangers are kicking people in the head and we don't get to do that.
You guys got to step.
You did a lot of kicks in the neck, though, and
Yeah,
probably not
like to the
intentional.
chest,
I
yeah.
saw them.
But
God,
it makes
these
you
poor
guys feel better.
stonebirds.
You did get to stab a lot of people through the chest, though.
Oh.
That was like something.
I didn't get to stab it.
Japanese footage
Yeah, the
stabbing.
Japanese footage could be as violent as
It didn't matter.
everybody blew everybody up.
Right.
But he's over here fighting with pizzas out of a
Yeah,
box.
I
He's
had-
throwing
Oh, well, what
pizzas
about the
at people.
puppies? The puppy. I was upset because
Yeah.
of the storylines. I wanted them to be a little more serious.
Your
I'm like,
dad-
come on, the
Your
puppies.
dad, the bookmobile. And,
The bookmobile. Oh, that episode. That was so
Okay,
fun.
so then you guys know that about your show in Japan. You know about Tokusatsu and Metal Heroes and all that.
I don't know a lot about it.
But
These
you
guys
but
know.
you know of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So do you guys have any like keepsakes, like scripts, props, toys? If you notice, I have this really wonderful.
Super cool.
I worked very hard on this. Like I was hunting it, all this stuff down from the McDonald's toys.
Wow.
That's the very first issue of your guys' VR Trooper
Yeah,
comic.
I have that one.
Amazing. I don't have any.
I have that one. I have a couple Marvel comics. I have several of the figures. I have the thing in my office at the house. I have the helmets, and I did actually drive through McDonald's and bought a Happy Meal
for
and
you.
tried to act like I was just like, can I get a VR Trooper Happy Meal? You know, I'm like, what, 20?
Wow, brave of you to admit
That
that.
is really
You know?
funny.
Yeah, and I'm just slowly opening in front of the girl who doesn't know me or care, and I'm just like,
Oh, that was me at one time.
you know.
My
Brian.
favorite piece is I had a buddy up in Alaska send me a VR Trooper action figure, but the one where the suit is separate, so
Oh,
you actually
cool.
see my face.
Oh, the
That's
$500
awesome.
one.
Yeah,
it's
and
on
You know
your-
that's a $500 action figure,
I
right?
want mine.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes. So this version of his suit, because remember they gave him like a whole little upgrade.
Black.
They released two toys. They gave you an upgraded version, and they gave him one. All right. All the armor and stuff come off. Those toys, as loose, $500. In package, $1,500.
Wow.
I know because I tried to get them.
Mine's in a package. Anybody got like $1,500
That was-
on them?
I saw it on your table. That's the first time I've ever seen it.
Oh, that's right. It's at my table now. Yeah.
Maybe not anymore.
I just have my dad.
I just
had
left
one.
$1,500 on the table right now, and everybody's just walking by.
My dad had a female action figure of Caitlin, so when he passed away, I inherited it.
You still have it though,
I
right?
do, yeah. My
Fresh
house
image.
burned down shortly after VR Troopers in 1996, like 3 months after I started General Hospital, and so I lost everything.
my
Almost
goodness.
died. My dog was burned. It's like we lost everything. So I don't have anything. I have no souvenirs. The only thing I had was because it was at my dad's. It was his, so I have that.
I'm
I have a
so
Caitlin.
sorry, Sarah.
This
You
is
didn't
like-
know?
No, I
Yeah.
don't know. And
Yeah, it was a
Oh.
bad, horrible fire. But you know what? I've always told this story, And what was interesting about the moment that we had to escape, because the place burned in 7.5 minutes. They were literally interrogating me in the hospital for arson. Like, the guy walks in and he goes, "We think someone tried to kill you. Is there any reason why someone would try to kill you?" And my first thing out of my mouth, like second thing out of my mouth was, "Well, I play a BITCH. I don't know who's seeing this on General Hospital. Could it have been a fan?" And I've always gone back to that moment where I had seconds, literally a minute to escape this apartment that I had just moved into, so I didn't know it very well. And I thought my training from VR Troopers is how I got out, because when the moment sank in, I'm gonna die, something else came up and I was like, I'm a superhero. I'm getting out of here. Come on, Gwen, get the dog, and out the window and jumping off the balcony. So anyway, I think, way of VR Troopers saved my life.
That's really cool. That's actually one of the
Because some
coolest.
people sort of wilt when there's tragedy or something horrible happening, and that was not the case, and that's always stuck with me.
That's probably one
Caitlin came in.
of the coolest actor stories I've heard.
It was
in-
intense.
No, I think ever. So I have two
VR
final.
Troopers saved my life.
That's gonna be the tagline of this
Go
interview
ahead.
now.
get the t-shirt
so
made.
I have
There we
two
go.
final questions for you guys, and I'm gonna let you go back and make thousands of dollars at your table.
All
Okay?
right, we'll buy action figures.
Yes. All right.
1,500.
So, you guys had a dog named Jeb. It was just the one dog, right? Okay.
no.
You guys
Over
had,
the course, there were two. It was Jeb and then Jeb's son, because Jeb, they phased Jeb out, and his son looked the offspring of Jeb looked just like Jeb,
But younger.
Yeah.
Definitely younger. Looked younger.
Okay, see,
started-
this is all new information I didn't know about.
You could
Jeb
kind of
and
tell.
Zeb, right? Zeb was the name
Jeb
of
was
the dog.
Zeb.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And then what was the baby's name? I forget.
Honestly, I don't remember the second dog.
Oh, he was a really good looking Rhodesian Ridgeback. Is that what Jeb was? Or no, he was some sort of a hound.
yeah, it was him.
Red hound or something.
Okay. Do you guys have any fond memories with either of the dogs? Because I imagine you were on set with them a lot. Like, I recently watched an episode, you were just on a laptop, but the laptop was on Jeb, and you were just doing your work, and the dog was cool with
Poor
it.
dog.
So, like, do you guys have any, like...
They dogs have more privileges on set than humans.
Yeah.
that's
The
what
dog
it was.
also made me
Got
laugh
breaks.
because what they were trying to get that dog to do, the dog was so old.
Yeah.
It could barely move.
Yeah.
So
He was
the
older.
kind of action that they were trying to make it do, and the tricks, the directing tricks that they had to make it look like it was running, or didn't they even have to speed up the film
Yeah.
sometimes to
They
make
did.
it look like
They
he was
did.
more
They
active?
sped up things and
Yeah.
froze
He
things all
was
the
so
time.
old.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they used an old dog.
He was
That
so
could
sweet
barely
though.
move.
They used him because he was the stunt coordinator's dog.
I think they did it to save
That was
money.
it. Yeah,
So,
they did.
so they got a twofer.
They got a twofer. They got him and the dog for free, probably.
Yeah.
But he was a very sweet dog. I think we all really loved him. We laughed a lot about the cheese he had to eat and the peanut butter he had to eat to make him talk. But like Mike said, he was older, so we weren't playing fetch with him, unfortunately.
All right, so final question. I'm gonna let you guys go. All right. Did you learn anything from working on the show that you took into other projects with you?
Never work non-union.
I was going to say, always read your contract.
I'm dyslexic. That's my excuse.
I mean, and we say it as a joke, but I mean, truthfully, we were all so young. It was our first show. It was our first thing, and we were so excited about being, on our own TV shows. We were the lead of a TV show, and then, we became arguably one of the highest rated kids TV shows, in the world. I mean, it was Power Rangers and us, and then there were a bunch of other, spin-offs of other shows. But in that moment, at that time, we knew how hard we were working, but it was either take the job or good luck, and we just took the job, and it wasn't a lot of money, and it was a lot of work, and I think we were just young enough to get it done. But at the end of the day, I mean, there was no residuals. We didn't make. Everybody's like, "You guys must be rich from the toy sales." No, we didn't get a dime.
So we would definitely not recommend that. Yes.
No,
Definitely not.
I mean, but they don't really do. They don't really do stuff.
Everything
like that
is non-union
anymore.
now. Now everything is. They're making a lot of shows these days in LA actually for the cell phone. So they're calling them short form
That's how they do
vertical
their own.
content,
That's
and
how
they're
they
all
do their own.
non-union. And we would just say that it's been 30 years. None of us made a dime after that. We made like $45,000. I don't know about you guys, but I did for the first year. So we're making like $10, $12 an hour because we're working 14 hours a day.
After you do the math.
And then we would have to do events and appearances. Just they would let us know on Friday night that we had to do Universal for Saturday and Sunday, and they would never pay us for that. Never, not a dime.
That's where I got injured.
We were all really.
You got
I don't know
injured
about
doing
Mike. Mike was in better.
I blew up.
He blew out his
I blew
knee.
up my ACL.
I broke
at the
my
show.
neck.
During the show, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a crash on jet skis where I couldn't walk for a month. So I would definitely recommend that, for the actors out there that were considering doing a show, think about the fact that, 30 years later, the people that created the show became billionaires. And we literally made $45,000 a year for 2 years, and that was it, and never ever made a dime off of it. So when it was on Netflix and everything, somebody pointed out in the panel that the executive producer was making $300,000 an episode, and I just am doing the math. I'm like, I made $1,000 an episode. What did you guys make? Maybe they made
And there were
1,500
91
or
episodes, so.
yeah, 91 episodes.
Divided
So
by 2.
correct. So their entire budget for the actors was like $150,000, and they were making $750,000. They were getting paid by Fox $750,000 per episode. So mathematically it didn't make any sense. Plus we had no air conditioning. So I think we would all recommend that, or say to other actors,
So
like,
the one
do
thing
the
on
math.
the one thing on the I feel the same way. I was really disappointed with how we got paid, but we also knew what was happening to the Power Rangers when they let go of them, when they demanded just a little bit more money. So we were like, hey, we're just happy to work. The one thing that I was grateful for, I'll leave this on a positive note, was I think for all three of us, it was our first time on camera,
Yeah.
as actors. And I'd taken acting classes. It does not prepare you for what acting in front of a camera is like, and like a real production. So I love that takeaway that I got from that. And now that I do animation for a living, I have that experience of acting for a camera, on camera, understanding staging, editing. Like now I appreciate film and the whole filmmaking process. And I use that in my animation now.
One of the directors said, he goes, it was on-the-job training. It
Yeah.
was basically on-the-job training, whether you're an actor, whether you were in the crew, all of us were, kind of given an opportunity to try out, what our passions were. So it was paid on-the-job training. Not great pay, but it was on-the-job training.
Great
So,
pay. But we enjoyed ourselves.
You
too.
segued into a great, you
I
won
did,
multiple Emmys.
but I
and
had
you
been
had a
studying
career ahead of you,
since I was 14 to be an actor, so it wasn't
You are
like I
aware
just-
of how people view you as a successful voice actor, though, right?
Me? Oh,
Yes.
really? Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
You're a big deal. I just want to let you know.
Depending on who you're talking to, you're a big deal.
Well, listen, I wanted to cast him in a show I wrote. So,
Yeah, we
and
did a
then-
show together.
Yeah.
Can we find it anywhere?
Oh yeah, the show I directed him in an episode, several episodes. It's called Red Riding Hoods, and it's fantastic. I
Couple
directed
of
10
different
episodes,
characters in there.
but there was a pilot that I wrote prior to that, 10 years prior, while he was doing, what was that big movie you did?
Boyhood.
Boyhood. He was doing Boyhood, but before he did Boyhood, I wrote him as a Marine in a pilot, and then he got Boyhood,
Yeah.
which he played a Marine or a
Yeah.
Army guy, something.
Yeah, ex-Army.
So-
yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll get to direct something, and I'll actually be able to pay you guys.
That'd be nice.
All right, and on that note, I think I've covered like I said, this is your guys' first big
Yeah.
reunion. I didn't want to overwhelm you with
Cool,
crazy
that's great.
questions
Thank
or
you, man.
dark
Great
questions.
questions.
This was way better than I could have ever anticipated. It means a
yeah.
lot to me that you're willing to do this, to come out to RoboToyfest. I hope you guys are having a great time on your
Absolutely.
30th anniversary reunion.
And everybody in the team.
So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys go, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Appreciate it.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Real quick. Yeah. So I already nailed the first interview with the 3 actors. I'm not gonna keep you guys here long, maybe 10 minutes max. I apologize.
Take as long as you want. No one ever interviews Percy.
Are you kidding me?
Kidding me?
You
No,
were,
I'm not.
You were a one. Okay, first of all, can you in the camera? Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Aaron Pruner, and I played Percival Rooney III on VR Troopers.
Hi, I'm Dave Carr. I played Tyler Steele, the father of Ryan Steele, and Darkheart also.
Thank you. All right, and first of all, I don't know if you know this, but you were a one-man Vulcan skull. Okay, it takes 2 to 3 actors to nail those comedic timing and those roles. You did that all by yourself. Okay, and you were able to make several milestones that not even they could do in their own respective shows. So yes, I am taking the time out of my day to interview the Percy.
Thank you. And I wasn't kidding. I'm serious. Like when we first did the show, Percy wasn't in any of the promotional stuff. When Sarah, Brad, and Michael went on like the live tour. None of that happened, and people were surprised for a while that there was no action figure. But I'm like, Percy wasn't in the Japanese footage. It's fine, but I do welcome the accolades. So thank you.
Well, they did get like those. I mean, it was only just Ryan Steele and Jamie's characters. They gave, when you guys went into season 2, they made like maybe 3 new action figures, and their armor came off, and you could see their faces. But Sarah didn't get one, so I mean, she didn't get. Yeah, I mean, it was a hard time. I mean, we're in better times now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Percy is a big deal. Like I said, when we met earlier, one of the things I brought to your attention was the fact that you were the only guy to ever have a legitimate kiss in the entire Saban franchise. Not in Masked Riders, not in Power Rangers, not in Mystic Knights of Tir-Nagog. The real ones know what that is. No, the only real true kiss. Tommy and Kimberly didn't even have. They had pecks on the cheek. Okay, so you broke that, and you're the only one to this day to have still done it, my man. So I mean, know your role.
That was something I did not know until you mentioned that earlier today to me. So that's cool, and that was, like I told you, my first ever kiss.
Wow.
In life.
With Sarah Joy.
With Sarah Brown, and that was a stressful day for both of us. Yeah.
Was it because of the kiss?
Yeah. Yeah, because she was also new to acting. I didn't realize everyone was pretty much new to this, so I don't think she'd ever had a kiss on camera. I had never had a kiss in real life. You know, I was just out of high school and kind of a little sheltered and late bloomer. So it was definitely, it was an interesting day. Yeah.
Is that why you keep the beard going now? Because you know you looked so young and that, and you're like, and never again.
No. I mean, I started growing the beard on a whim, and then my wife was like, "Don't shave it." And I have
the same thing.
I have, and it's kind of an imbalance thing. Because look, for you at home, if you look at my face, I do have kind of like an egghead thing. It doesn't look like a giant head, but my head's really big. I tried to get hats. I went with my wife to Mexico, and I tried to get a sombrero. They had no hats to fit me. The people at the store started calling me Grande Cabeza. I'm being serious. So like growing the beard sort of balances that out, and then I was told it looked pretty good.
I gotta say, Aaron's role in the show, I think it was the most courageous role of all. To be honest with you, the way that he put himself out there, it's very easy to play the tough guy, to play the guy that doesn't say much, to play the guy who's in kind of a leadership role. But to really do what he did with comedic timing and being able to put that out there, that takes more courage than anything that you could put on stage or film. I really believe that. So kudos to you.
No, like I said, I recently just rewatched all 91 episodes of VR Troopers.
Wow.
Yeah, right. So when Beth got the 3 together and they made that huge announcement, oh yeah, that's right, we're gonna get all the VR Troopers back. I forwarded that information to Scott almost right away to, you know, lock in that reunion. And then apparently you guys too were also a possibility. So once we figured out that we were going to be the first ones to do this out of any convention or show ever, I watched, it was, you know, back in the 90s you didn't have streaming, so you know you could only watch what you either watch at the time or recording. So I only watched maybe, if I'm honest with myself as a child, 40 or 50 episodes of VR Troopers. So I made it my mission to make sure that I rewatched and, you know, gave you guys the respect you deserved when talking with you and interviewing you about all this stuff. So trust me, I've been seeing a lot of Percy, and you put in the work. I enjoyed you much more than I enjoyed Jeb.
Well, I mean, look, thanks. It's nice to hear. It's also kind of a full circle thing to hear, because I didn't ever hear any of that when we did the show. It was I don't want to get too in the weeds, but it was not being on set, especially on a non-union show for children in the early 90s. Let's just say not everything was up to code. Certain things would have been flagged for inappropriateness, I guess would be the word to use. And for me, like there were episodes where I had 101 degree fever and I was puking outside and then coming in and doing my own stunts.
So that sweat wasn't makeup. That was just you, you know, hanging in there.
Yeah, I did have a stunt double that looked nothing like me though. Like there was an episode where I fell out of a boat into the water, and they did a slow motion shot of my stunt double doing it because they wouldn't let me do it. And he was about 5 inches shorter than me, probably 50 pounds heavier, pure muscle, tan, and they showed that in slow motion. But there was a lot of stuff I did on my own, and at the time it was just about making the shot, because we had such an intense schedule. Yeah. And what I got from it was that I would do anything for a laugh, and so then they sort of ran me through the ringer. And then when people started watching the show, kids would come up to me and kick me, and they would punch me, and they would try to jump on me, and they would make fun of me in person. It was like oh my God,
kids are cruel.
This is the message we're giving them. And in season 2, I remember they made a very conscious shift of we're no longer going to present Percy as a joke, because it was coming across to kids that it was okay to beat up nerds. And so if you watch season 1 and compare my stuff to season 1 to season 2, the stuff in season 2, Percy had more like situational complications that required more character development, as opposed to like in season 1, it was like some funny weird thing happened at the beginning, and then at the end my karate gi fell and you see my monkey shorts, or I get attacked by a Xerox machine, or like Michael said, waterboarded.
I think that's a good differentiation, especially that turn that it took. Was there like at some point, did you voice something, or is it something that the producers saw?
I always
that change?
I always wanted to be in more episodes, and I would pitch random ideas to people, but I wasn't really taken seriously that much because I was usually just the 18-year-old nerdy boy on set. And I don't know, it was, I don't mean to be derailing things, but there were times on set where Aaron was treated like he was Percy by crew members. There was one guy in particular I was like assaulted by on set, and I threatened to walk off. And then I realized later that, the person that they are dealing with every day isn't me. It's the character. Because I would have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, drive to set, and be in the makeup chair by 6 a.m. And then I'm just in this persona for 12, 14, 15 hours a day. So it was that whole trying to differentiate myself from the character that I think a lot of the audience, especially the younger audiences, had a hard time with, that then they just felt that they had permission to come up and jump on me.
Which we know, which isn't okay, and I wish they would have took, as a father figure in there. We always had something important to say at the beginning of the show, something philosophical to learn. That was written by other people, of course. And I thought that was an integral part of the show, but as far as that's concerned, there should have been some kind of arc to where it showed, hey, yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay to pick on the nerdy kid. And I did get some backlash a couple times while the show was playing from a couple families saying, it just feels to me like you're promoting violence with the martial arts and this and that. And I think part of there is referring to your character. So, I do see those different points of view. 90% of the people, they probably didn't take it that way, and took it in a very good way, but it's definitely imperfect, and a lot of lessons to be learned. So I think it's great that Aaron's able to voice these things now. I think it's very important to put out there.
I've come a long way.
So when it comes to your character, because typically if it wasn't Ryan opening the show, it'd be Ryan opening the show with a flashback of you. Yes. How did you feel knowing that you were a main character or pseudo guest character? How did you feel your role impacted the show besides my dad's lost out there and I need to find him one day?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. I really didn't know my place when I first started, and I Aaron was on the main set most of the time, and I was on second unit at the San Pedro Bell Shrine with a young man named Farron Thompson at 10 or 11 years old. And so that was quite interesting. So I didn't know how that was going to actually integrate into the show. I did get to be featured for during the Quest for Power series, and of course the Dark Heart series, which was a lot of fun. And I got to work with, I think me and we worked together one time, and then I finally got to work quite a bit with Brad, Sarah, and Mike But I forgot what that question was leading to. Oh, how did I see my
How
character?
did you see your character impacting the show? Because you were featured quite a bit.
So I'm probably talking maybe from my long lost ego back then. There's not much left now, but it was I kind of thought I was the Han Solo, I was the hero of the hero, but a very minor role. But I know that the whole show was for Ryan to try to find and rescue his father. So I felt very important, though. I was on all 92 episodes, I believe, but I think a lot of the fans were still looking for that resolution. I see it in the emails and internet and people saying, I felt like it should have been wrapped up better with Ryan being reunited with his father. And so I think that component was missing a little bit. I've been approached by different people with scripts at some of the Morph Cons and things saying, we'd really like to see a resolution to this show. So I don't think the fans completely got closure at the end.
So
I don't think we got closure.
I agree.
Which leads to one of my final questions. So you guys do know that Power Rangers had a 30th anniversary reunion show over on Netflix?
Didn't know that.
Yes. So Netflix produced a special, kind of like a mini movie.
I do know that. Right. Yeah, okay. I know what you're talking about.
It was called Once and Always. They had gotten all the actors they could to be on it. So no Austin, no Amy, and no J.C. David Frank. But they got everyone else. They put them all into the movie, and they tried to wrap up and do new things with those characters. I asked the previous cast before in their interviews if they would have been down to return for a similar special, because you guys are on 30 years now. So would you be down to want to do a VR Troopers reunion, a Troopers Forever, or anything like that? You've got the comic, but I mean, it's only a comic. Would you have liked to do like a 1 hour special or anything like that to finish off the arc? Grimlord is still out there.
When I was first approached to be a guest on at the Morphicon, it was forever ago, and a guy named Chris used to be involved. He pitched to me an idea of like a sequel movie where Percy is now the mayor of Crossworld City?
Crossworld City.
And I was like, who is this guy? This is a ridiculous idea. Okay, whatever. No one's going to care. But that idea has randomly come back to me time and time again. And, I cover TV now. That's what I do for work. And I have had these thoughts that have randomly visited me over time. Like when the CW had the Arrowverse, I was like, we did that before they did that.
You technically did. Like, I always think of it with Power Rangers, because when they did that episode with all the Red Rangers in it, I was like, this was our Avengers Assemble moment,
right?
And when they did Power Rangers Zeo, and Brad was voicing the Gold Ranger, like I reckon those ayahs anywhere. I thought we were gonna get Ryan Steele being the Gold Ranger. We were gonna have Caitlin and JB, we thought we were going to finally get that big crossover. So, I mean, Power Rangers Deed was doing that expanded universe thing first.
So, like, to answer your question, someone just came up to me on the floor and was talking about how did Percy end up? And I'm like, I remember coming to set one day and them telling us it was the last day. That they had just they had no more footage and the show was getting canceled. And it was just kind of like a boom. And so it just sort of ended on a
thud.
Right. There was no real closure. I'd love to do something with the caveat of being able to have a sense of agency and really give Percy a story arc and an ending where he's not just the butt of a joke.
Right. Aaron,
and also, hold on. To answer your question about him earlier, I grew up without a dad. And so watching the show, every time he'd come on with a lesson for Ryan at the beginning, it would be twofold. I would be like, that's some bullshit. Sorry, but I was just like, that's not realistic because I've lived truth, but at the same time, there'd be an element of jealousy because I'd been like, man, that would have been cool to just be hanging out with my dad, getting insight and knowledge of this. Yeah. And now that I have a daughter, I'm like, I see it in a different way now to see how important that is to have on TV, to have sort of like that message of guidance and lessons to your kid from a father figure. So, I mean, as a person that was on the show, I have had that thought regularly about your character.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I know there was talk, Aaron, I think I remember like the last season, even we were talking about doing a movie. And so I remember us all being excited about that thinking that, oh, are they going to, is a movie going to come out after
I love
the
how you
show?
say us all. No one talked to me about
Yes,
it.
no, I heard rumors of that. Well, you
I
would have
guess
been an
we'd
integral
have
part of that.
That Aaron kid in there.
But I remember them talking about that, and Aaron's right. There was just very little closure as far as, and I think the fans really felt that and felt a little bit slighted. So, if there was to be something out there that was to be put out there, a script or something, I would love to do it. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it would be great to see where these characters ended up and how they kind of came full circle. What I would love to see is his character come full circle on something of being a trained martial artist and some kind of badass. I think that would be amazing. That would be incredible. That I would love to see. Yeah.
I would be more so equipped with weapons than fists.
Well, okay, so you know that your VR Troopers was spliced together from first it was 2 shows, then it became 3 shows because they ran out of footage from the first show.
I did not know that because no one told me that when we were shooting. I only learned that after the fact.
That's right. Yeah, which is why when you watch the shows today, you're like, why is all the action footage all over the place? Mm-hmm. If they honestly really wanted to kept going, there was a red version they could have included and had Ryan's, adventure still keep going and whatnot. They had another option. In the next show that followed, all those metal heroes did include 3 other people. It wasn't Beetleborgs though. It was some like a metal hero cop thing, and that suits looks atrocious. So I don't think you would have been too pleased to have been in that one.
Interesting.
But the red suit, honestly, if they were to do a finale like that, I could totally see the mayor thing. I'd love. I think that'd be great for Percy.
Yeah.
That would be totally. This photographer thing didn't work out, but now.
I'm sorry. Are you doing a Percy voice right now?
I was trying to.
Okay, you heard that. Okay.
But,
A for effort.
See how famous you
That's
are?
fine.
But like I said, last 2 months it's just been VR Troopers after the gym. So, but I could totally see that character first doing the mayor thing and then be revealing once the 3 VR Troopers get ready to have their final battle, you being the red one and be like, oh, see guys, I've known all along. Jeb.
That'd be interesting.
And your character knew Jeb was talking the whole time because you were the only one who ever overheard Jeb talk, and you never would catch him, and you were the only I can't remember.
See, here's my thought. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I've already had these thoughts about how Percy would be the mayor, but also have kind of a Zictor role in this and be the bad guy, but no one knows, and that would be the big reveal that I'm the one pulling the strings now, behind the scenes. But that would be kind of like turning heel, and I'm not 100%.
Oh, you're a wrestler fan. You're a wrestling fan?
Yes.
I'm a professional wrestler, so that's why I was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
what do you feel about John Cena and Logan Paul partnering up?
I was at Money in the Bank last night.
You were?
Yes, me and my girlfriend were at Money in the Bank last night.
I don't know the results.
Do you want me to spoil that, or do you want to watch it on Peacock when you get home?
No.
Is Peacock promoting this? Or
No,
is
but
that-
I'm
is that a
trying.
sponsor?
A plug is a plug, and who knows?
I'm going to watch it, but I'd love to know if Cody Rhodes got one up over John Cena.
He did in the best possible way ever.
I will watch then. That's
Nice.
all I need to know.
Okay, yes.
Sorry, we derailed the conversation.
No, it's fine. It's
Remember, guys, I also post all my wrestling matches
Also-
on my channel.
Just kind of full circle thing.
Yes.
Joseph Deckelmeyer, who was the moderator of our panel.
Yes.
Last time I saw him was at the Netflix WWE press kickoff event. So it was sort of that's where I
also
got
at that.
You were?
Yes, I was.
That's why you look familiar.
Probably.
Oh my gosh.
I got a selfie with Cody Rhodes at that after I guess I spoiled Moana 2 for The Miz. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No, you're fine, man. It's just wrestling. I train at the New Japan Dojo right now, so.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I'm trying to get to Japan myself. That's the kind of professional wrestler I am.
I'm sorry.
And
This
it's
interview
really
is
making this about me.
This interview is so derailed, but my friend Graham, who's here, is a big wrestling fan, and he went to New Japan. He went to Japan last year and actually got to see the big Japanese wrestling.
The
What's it called?
Tokyo Dome.
Yes.
Wrestle Kingdom.
Wrestle Kingdom.
Yes.
Yeah, he told
That's
me
their
all about that.
WrestleMania.
It's crazy.
So.
Nice.
But
Very
yes,
cool.
for all you wrestling fans,
Yeah,
it goes all
exactly.
around
The
the
way we
world.
can tie this back to VR Troopers is I am an entertainment journalist for my day job, and now I am covering WWE for work.
Okay, got it. Oh, nice.
So, but on that note, we have gone officially over 1 minute and so past the allotted time I was trying to get for this. So I just want to say this was an honest honor and pleasure to finally meet both of you
Hey,
guys.
thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for having us both.
I only wanted 10 minutes with y'all, and I got more than double that. So honestly, this was phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you. You're a good interviewer. Thank you so
I
much.
do my best.
You're wonderful.
But thank you guys for everything.
Yes,
Of course.
Take
You
care.
guys have a phenomenal day. Go back to your tables and make a bunch of money. Oh, wait, I do have one final question.
Okay.
Okay. So I asked the first crew. I forgot to ask the first crew, and they told me they want to do more. Are you guys, now that VR Troopers is cool again, and you guys
Is it
get-
cool again?
You guys are getting like.
You do got a comic book
you
coming
guys-
out.
No, and you, they're gonna put some of the troopers inside one of the Power Ranger video games. There's like on the app phone. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, no, they're pushing VR Troopers hard right now.
Wow.
So now that all that's going on and the actors are starting to do conventions again, are you down to do more cons like this, or was this a one and done?
The person who got me to come to this was Sarah Brown.
Okay.
The one person who has been avoiding the convention circuit for a long time
Sarah
to do
Brown.
press of the show. She texted me out of nowhere saying that her, Michael, and Brad were putting together, I guess, a package to potentially do convention appearances around the country, and asked me if I'd be interested, and I laughed. I did, because I was like, sure, if they want me, but they're not going to. You're the big draw, not me. And she was like, stop. And I'm like, I'm not trying to be self-deprecating or anything, but I've done a number of these. And when I did the first Morphicon, I was the only VR Troopers cast member here, and no one knew who I was.
It was a more ignorant time though. So, don't,
But seriously, I have met some really cool people who were really touched by the show. And I told them if people are offering and like if it's out of state and they're covering travel, sure, I'll go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I'd definitely be game to go. I've been very fortunate in my career, and I have some flexibility, and it's very exciting to see the show 30 years later. I mean, come back around. I mean, who can say that about a show they've done 30 years ago? That's just amazing. I mean, there's a 6-part series comic book coming out about us and our show.
That's what I said when I was
and
sitting
so
over
it's
there
an amazing thing.
with the cast. I was
incredible.
like, this is kind of weird, right?
It's incredible.
Oh, you mean my horrible first attempt on getting the interviews?
Well, no. Seriously, when I was 18 years old, my first TV show, my first acting job, I graduated high school, and 4 days later, I'm on set on a TV show thinking I had made it. And it was this crazy whirlwind, 90-something episodes in 2 years.
Yes.
And, you look back on it now, and it's like, well, that was just a weird thing. But then you meet all these people who it really impacted.
Yes.
And you start thinking, well, my experience on this may have been one thing. But when you meet fans and you see how the first time I did one of these, I met someone who was homeschooled, who came up to me and said I was their only friend growing up.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I was
Incredible.
like, worrying about my own personal anxieties, that doesn't mean anything at this point. If I know that the stuff that I did at least
It helped a lot of people.
touched one person
It
like
helped
that.
a lot of people, I believe. And something I took from the show that I rarely share is that 30 years ago, I walked into Magic Movie Studios, and it was 5 a.m. call for VR Troopers, and there was a security guard, and there was a little girl, 19-year-old girl with her face covered and had a sniffle. And I looked at her and I said, I'm going to marry that girl. And so I took her from the set of VR Troopers. We've been married for 28 years.
What? Wow.
VR Troopers is a love story.
Yes.
So
and we have 3 children, and they're all
named JB,
20,
Caitlin, and Ryan.
22, 23, and 24. It's Chloe, Connor, and
Nailed
Colin.
the joke.
And so VR Troopers has given me a lot.
Okay, and on that note, I can't think of a better way to end off. So again, thank you guys for everything.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Go back to your tables and more Phenomenal Expo and Ranger Stop. I'm talking to you, Mikey. They're down to come. So
Thank you.
You guys have a great day and thank you for everything.
Great.
Of course.
Thank you so much. Yeah, pleasure.
For having.
Countdown 4, 3, 2, 1.